making it such an amazing place. We're ready to go. We're ready to fight, and we still have another week or so of training. So I'm really excited about it. I can't wait to get down there and show the world why Albuquerque might be small, but we're the best. That's for sure.
Right.
Do we have any questions for me?
Talked a lot about how big this fight is in terms of just women in sports, Holly's big opportunity. More of an X's and O's thing. What can you say about some strategy, about what you think's actually going to go down in the fight that's obviously not giving away too much?
Well, like anytime that I say this, we're playing cards, and I can't be like, here, look at all our cards, look what we've got. But I will say that we need a very layered approach. This fight will at some point go to the ground. She will lock up with us at some point, and so it's not just a matter of keeping Ronda away, it's what happens when Ronda gets in. And hopefully we've done our homework and we know what to do at every step of the game. So it's not like we're putting all our eggs in one basket. I'm extremely confident that Holly will be able to fight at any range. We're going to win. We're not going to say that we did it, we're going to say that we won. That's an important mental distinction.
Greg, I'll ask all of you guys, when you guys come up each separately, you continue to have these people doubting and stuff like that. What do you say to the doubters? People say, why are you guys doing this?
Well, we've been doubted from day one. 20-some years ago when we first started doing MMA out of Albuquerque, people would like, Albuquerque, where's that? And then they knew who we were when we left. And that's kind of always how it's been. So for us, that's just normal. Like I guess maybe if we were some fancy California team or back from New York or somewhere, we wouldn't get any doubters. But that's never been the case. So actually it would be a little weird if everybody thought we were going in to win. I wouldn't know how to handle that. It's never been the case in 20-some years, and hopefully it'll never be the case. I love being the underdog. I love having a little chip on my shoulder that I got to brush off. It makes me motivated, and I think everybody from Albuquerque feels that way. But again, they always know who we are when we leave.
Coach, you've cornered thousands of fights. From an exposure, hype standpoint, where does this fight rank up there for you?
Oh, it's right at the top, this fight, as far as exposure and everybody wondering about it. It's right at the top. Luckily enough, we all have had experience in it, so it's not like the bright lights are scaring us. We've been here a lot, including Holly. So it's kind of another day in the office, and that's how you want to think about it. You don't never want to think, oh wow, it's the biggest thing ever. I mean, that's for fans and for the drama, but for those of us in the trenches, it's just another battle, and we're in it to win it.
Any other questions?
I got off easy.
Thank you, Greg.
Guys.
At the end of the day, it's about fighters. And how lucky am I that I met Greg Jackson a long time ago and we started training fighters, and he was locking me up and choking me different ways, and I was running around trying not to get locked up, trying to hit him. But it's cool. We got a who's list of fighters. Holly walked into my gym 16, 17 years ago. I can't even count. Just wanted to do aerobics. And here we are today. She's going to be fighting in Australia. Biggest women's fight of all time. It's going to be the biggest upset ever in MMA, period, across the board. 70,000 people arena. You can't get any bigger than that. But as my little bro says, Greg said, I know Holly, when she walks in there, all that's gone. She's going to see the cage, we're going to shut it. She's going to hear Greg and I and Izzy, her wrestling coach, Izzy Martinez, and she's going to do what she does, what she always does. She's going to win. She's been in battles before. Ronda has not been in those deep battles, and she's walking out with a belt, so we're real excited about that. As far as the facility goes, you know what, Greg and I, we've been training people for a long time. We had a great place. Greatest fighters in the world trained there. It was great, but we kind of outgrew it a little bit. We wanted to find a way to go bigger. Albuquerque's getting big. Innovate Albuquerque's coming up across the street. We've been offered to go out of town before. Many offers to go teach elsewhere, but Albuquerque's our home. I want people to understand that we want to stay in Albuquerque and stay in New Mexico. Our fighters, it's a who's list of fighters from Albuquerque. We got Carlos Condit, he's fighting for the world title. John Dodson just fought for the world title. And he'll be back, he's gonna win next time he fights for it. Cowboy Cerrone has moved here, he lives in Edgewood now, he's a New Mexican. Diego Sanchez is fighting still at the highest level. These are all guys Albuquerque based. And we got Holly Holm. She is going to be, in a couple weeks, the #1 fighter, period, in the world. We got the other big names too many to talk about, so we're real excited. I'm real passionate about what we do and winning fights. Lenny's been an inspiration to me and my #1 go-to when it comes to business. There's no doubt about it. My wife believed in me as far as opening up this facility and deciding to put time and effort into it. So Heather is definitely the person I appreciate the most for making all this possible. But again, nothing would happen if we weren't having the fights here with Holly and the big fighters. So if you guys have some questions about the Holly fight, let me know.
Mike, what has Holly done for your?
Wow, I'm here today. You know what? I was just I've been teaching fighters for a long time, but Holly's one of the reasons that look, she won every single world title in boxing that could be won. How cool is that? I got to train the best fighter in the world, so it's done a lot of things for me. I'm excited. I'm honored to win Holly Holm.
Same thing I asked Greg. What do you say to people who are just doubting, like right off the gate?
That makes the win even bigger. It doesn't bug us in the slightest. We've been doubted before. Gosh, I think Greg said it when Rashad fought Chuck Liddell. Boom! The crowd was so excited. All of a sudden, it was just silent. And Rashad knocked out Chuck. We've been in those situations before. With Holly, it was Christy Martin. She's in there boxing, who's who in the boxing world. And everybody's like, you're gonna fight Christy Martin? Are you crazy? What kind of coach are you? And we knew he could win the fight. And I'm gonna tell you what, Christy came out there and threw Holly, and Holly was over here, and Christy almost fell through the ropes. And Holly she looked at me like, oh, this is fun. And Holly just picked her apart. And again, all of the doubters like, whoa, that just happened. It's gonna be again in this fight. So we're real excited about it.
Coach mentioned, representing New Mexico and what that means to you guys to be able to make a name for yourselves even when people don't know where Albuquerque is. Just what do you think about that and being able to represent the state?
Well, you know what? I was born here. Greg grew up here, so we're proud. We're proud about representing the state and everybody here. There's something in the environment. I always have to quote Greg. It's just because he's much smarter with words than I am. He always says it's a desert. Everything's got to be tough to survive here. There's no water. There's cactus. Things make you itch. There's dirt. There's sand. I wish I would have thought of that, but he's right. That's how the fighters are here. They come to Albuquerque. There's not the great, gigantic nightlife. There's not a lot to do other than train and get ready for fights, over and above the great scenic Albuquerque area, etc. Sure.
You talk a little bit about the time you spent with Holly, now seeing women's combat sports as a whole grow to where it is on this big platform.
Yeah, I didn't think at first I didn't want to see women get hit. There's no doubt about it. But what we found out is the women fight hard. They come and go, and they come hard. They fight real hard in the cage, in the fight game. They're just like the guys, probably more intense than the guys in many ways. And it's been great. It's been great training the women. And I think what Holly's done is she's empowered a lot of women out there, and a lot of young girls, that you can be a good kid, a good person, do all the right things, and aspire to greater things. It's neat in many ways in life.
Similar to that, seeing the promos of the little girls, the little girl Holly growing up, the little girl Rhonda growing up, just for her to be on this platform and to be able to inspire little girls, from like a father figure standpoint, what does it mean to you?
Oh, I think it's great because what she represents, all the good things, hard work, doing the right things, good morals, good values, get America back to what it used to be. Get back to the traditional, hard-working people that do the right thing. That's Holly Holm, and I want all of America to stand behind her.
Mike, for people that have never been in a corner during a fight, what is that like for you? What kind of things are you looking for? What kind of things are you noticing perhaps in your opponent?
First, it's pretty cool. Because Greg and I get to play them like video games. Everybody else gets to watch it. We kind of get control a little bit. So it's very cool to use a big word, cool. But it's nonstop analyzing what's going on in the fight. Greg and I have been in there a long time, and he's always in my ear talking to me about it. Now I'm in his ear because we have certain times we both talk and give instruction. And constantly analyzing what the opponent's doing, constantly analyzing what's our best bet at the moment, what we see open, what we think the person's going to do, and having communication with our fighters. It gets real intense, but it's fun. It's what we do. We love it.
Greg, do you ever fall back on your own experience, because you being in the kickboxing and doing all that stuff? When you see her doing stuff, do you ever fall back to some of the stuff that may have happened to you in the ring and use that while you're out there? Or?
Not too much, because I was pretty much a straight line dumb fighter that went straight forward, and Holly has much more intellect than I had when I fought. She's thinking about angles and things, but I understand the perseverance part of it, and I believe in our fighters' ability to dig down deep. All the different workouts that Greg's put them through makes them so tough mentally that we know we can get them to push through different bad situations. And again, to quote my little brother, get comfortable being uncomfortable. And so that's big. That's what I take from my fights. But it's a lot deeper than that with our coaching.
You saying get comfortable being uncomfortable, so you guys go out there and get this thing done. The wave is coming, and you guys are ready for that.
Oh yeah, you get in a bad position. A lot of people they succumb. They give up. I think what we've done with our fighters is persevere through those bad positions, bad things. You're getting hit. They can stop and not have that freeze and think through things and overcome their fears or the position, whatever it might be, and win the fight.
Ask Greg to, obviously without giving away too many specifics, a little more specific to the fight itself. What are you expecting from Ronda that has gotten her to where she is, and what are you expecting that Holly's going to do to combat that?
Oh, I expect Ronda to come hard at her. I think she's had some good coaching, and she's gotten much better at her stand-up skills. And I think she wants to prove a little bit of stand-up skills. It's going to be a combination. She's going to try to prove her stand-up skills. When that doesn't work, she's coming in and toss Holly on her head. And it's one of those two is going to happen right away. There's no doubt about it, and we're prepared for both. I think people will be surprised on a lot of new weapons that that Holly has not unveiled yet in the cage that she's capable of using.
Is there almost a risk that Ronda wanting to prove that she can stand up with a former boxing champion? Is that almost a little hard-headed? If she does that, she's going to, like you said, learn pretty quickly she's not going to be able to stand up and strike?
Oh yeah, you know what? Ronda can stand up. She can throw down. Holly's better. And could Ronda catch Holly with something? Yes, but it's not going to be enough to stop Holly Holm. She's been in the wars. She's been in battles there. And I think Ronda's smart enough to change the game plan when she sees that it doesn't work. But we're not overlooking her stand-up. She's very talented with her stand-up.
Do you think that you guys might be in her head a little bit for her to say that she can't handle the fame that she's going to get if she does win? Do you think that Holly couldn't handle that? For Ronda to say that, do you think you guys might be in her head a little bit because why is she worried about that?
I'm not sure why she said. I care less, honestly. I think Holly care less. Holly's wants to win a fight. It's like all the new media that's been out there, the commercials. People are worried about. They're talking about Ronda more and Holly. Holly doesn't watch it. She goes, I don't care. I can care less. I just want to go fight. And that's what people are not understanding about Holly Holm is that stuff doesn't matter. The fight matters. Any other questions? Good. That you all came down and stuff. So first, let me do this. Some people would like to speak. I'd love for them to speak. So let me have Lieutenant Governor John Sanchez come on up, please, and say a few words.
You should let me go first for all that. Well, you'd think I'd get a little stronger with this stuff at this point. This is why I'm like this, though. Look at the support I get, I really don't even need to say too much about it. You already heard it all, but this is what makes me passionate to want to win. How do I not want to go out there and make everybody proud that's believing in me? And I've got my coaches right here that put their their timeless energy and their effort into helping me improve every day. It's not just a little bit each fight. We're looking to improve every single day we're in the gym. And, I really just come in here and say, just teach me, tell me what I need to know. They're the best at what they do, and I couldn't do it without them. I have a lot of teammates here that have helped me along the way, and there's absolutely no way that I could be ready for this fight without them. One thing that I love about the way that this team is and the way I've just kind of been really looking at it for this fight is every day's been hard, physically, mentally, emotionally. But and every day has that constructive criticism, which is good. But I'm one of those that don't BS to me and don't sugarcoat it. Tell me exactly what I need to do to get better, because if you really care about me winning, you're gonna want me to fix those things. So it's been a lot, and they know that. I love how much they want to push me. And so even though I'll be in there by myself fighting him, it's not just me. I mean, I have to be the one to perform and do it, but it's everybody that's been supporting me along the way, and there's no way I could do it without them. So if you have any questions, I'll regain my thought.
Well, Holly, I told you, like I said, I was going to ask all you guys that same question, and people have been doubting you because a lot of people honestly don't know. They don't know you like they know her because she's been on so much. Has anybody come up to you in your face and doubted you and say like, "Oh, I can't believe you're doing this" or anything like that?
You know, it depends on who they are, but someone that doesn't know me, then they might say something like that. The people that know me have not said that because they know that once I set my mind to it, that's where we're going. And I'm probably one of those that if it's going to be somebody that's going to be talking negative, I'm probably not going to talk to you. So I've kind of just surrounded myself with greatness, with my coaches. Lenny, who's always believed in me. I mean, the first big fight with Christy Martin, he had to put a lot of faith and belief that I was going to do well with that situation, or it could have been a big nightmare, you know. And that was just kind of a turning point. That wasn't the only fight that he believed in me, but it started from a long time ago. And without having the opportunities given to me, without having the coaching to guide me along the way, without having my training partners to push me, they're not taking it easy on me because they know that Ronda's not going to want to take it easy, or anybody else in there. So, you know, as far as the negative people, I really don't like to surround myself with them. I feel like everybody's, for the most part, you're kind of in control of your own happiness, and so make what you can with it each day. You can surround yourself with a lot of negativity, and it's not really how I choose to have my life.
Holly, I know you answered about 50 questions on that conference call yesterday about Ronda's comments about you handling being a champion. I want to know what you thought about being peppered with a bunch of questions about you not being able to handle the spotlight on a conference call when Ronda Rousey hung up the phone when she was asked about her personal life.
Yeah, well, that's true. I didn't even think about that. I didn't really, after they did ask her about her dating life, her connection got lost. So, but, as far as not being able to handle the champion life, ready or not, I'm coming to fight. If that falls in place, then fine. In my career, and I know that you've heard me say this time and time again, passion first, everything else falls into place. So far, that's worked for me, so I'm passionate about this fight, and everything else will fall into place, whatever that may be. And you know what? If there's a lot coming at me, I don't have to say yes to everything like she does. I like to have my time to myself, too. I'm not going to say yes to every movie role that comes, it happens. Passionate about something first, everything else falls into place. If there's something I'm not passionate about, then I'll do what I have to do as far as promoting or whatever for fighting, and I'll take on what I feel is going to be maybe a good opportunity with whatever comes with it. But to sit here and map out, I'm gonna have this fight, and then the victory, then this will come, and this will come, and oh my gosh, I just don't know if I'm ready for that. It's just those thoughts that even cross my mind. I just think about the fight. My timeline only goes to November 14th here, 15th there. I can't even think as far as how people say, are you going to, be able to vacation and travel around Australia? I'm like, God, I have kind of a big fight first, that's as far as I think. So as far as all this other talk about all of that, I guess one thing nice about it, it was something different they asked me yesterday, but yeah, it was kind of silly.
Do you think she was trying to get under your skin, or do you think she's just answering the question?
Maybe she's ran out of stuff to say. She's been in the media so much, so she's just kind of grabbing at straws. I don't know. But it's not anything that bothers me. It's not anything that's affected me in any ways.
You're not thinking about buying a new house No,
I love where I live right now. So,
Where's
maybe a vacation.
where's your mindset right now as opposed to the first day we were here doing this?
Oh, I feel so much better. The way that I visualize the fight is completely different than when I first, the first thing was like, all right, well, where do we start, guys? We need some help. Where do we start? And now it's like, I can actually, a lot of times I go on runs and I don't even listen to music half the time. It's how my mental hour, and I just think about every scenario of fighting. At first it was like, I could only picture one or two things and what I would do. And now that I've had the training camp, it's like, I can sit there and my mind will just be like flowing through a fight, thinking about every situation I might be in. So totally different.
Is it completely stressful, or do any of this process, do you enjoy any of it?
Oh, I know this might not look like I'm enjoying it, but I am. The more obstacles and the harder the path is right now, just makes that much more of a sweet victory, and that's what we're going for. One thing I said before, and I think I told you guys, I'm not going for a participation ribbon, I'm going for the gold, going for the blue ribbon, and that's kind of been a thing that we've been saying in the whole training camp. I'm not taking this fight just to say I got in there with Ronda Rousey. That's just ridiculous, and sometimes I think maybe that's what her competition feels. Well, I'll give it a go. I'm not going to give it a go. I'm going in there with every. If you're not going in there believing you can win, it's just not going to happen. That's as simple as it is. And so, I'm just trying to take it all in.
When Greg was talking about he likes having a chip on the shoulder, being our underdog. You like that? Don't you like when people underestimate you or whatever?
I think that it's almost harder to take a fight where you're just supposed to win. Because then even if you do, they think, well, do you think you should have finished it earlier? Do you think you should have, and then if you lose to them, they think, oh, but every fighter has a, a threat. And so when you're up against the toughest, there's a certain mental game with that in a way can be easier, when there's not as much expected of you. So it doesn't matter what fight it is. It could be somebody you're supposed to beat. There's going to have its own stresses on that. And then there's going to be the person that's supposed to, just mop the floor with you, and there's the stresses with that. So to me, every fight it's huge. Every fight.
You mentioned some people are kind of looking. You mentioned the time factor, how quick. That's obviously something with Ronda that a lot of the people that aren't familiar with the sport seem to care about. A lot of newcomers to the sport are just interested in how quick she beats people now. Is there any level of satisfaction you would have just extending her beyond what her last 4 or 5 opponents have done? Or is it win or no satisfaction?
I win or no satisfaction. That's all it is. Yeah. It's as simple as that. I remember after my first loss I ever had, somebody came up to me and said, it's not the end of the world, and I just thought to myself, that's exactly what it feels like, the end of the world. I hate to lose. So no, I'm not going in there to beat 14 seconds, because then how am I going to be ready for 5 rounds? I'm going in there to win, and without that, then there's no here. I'm only satisfied with victory. I don't care who it is.
Do you draw off that experience? Like you just talked about, you've been on the other side of it before. The Aunt Sophie, I remember her. You came back and you took care of it the next time around, dominated it.
Yeah, that was a huge. That fight to me, I know we talk about the Christy fight quite a bit, and we talk about the Aunt Sophie rematch quite a bit, but those are 2 defining moments in my life, and so they have helped me prepare for this moment. There was a similar, maybe even more so, of the negative, oh my gosh, do you really think you can do this? Why aren't you retiring? I can't believe you're going to take a fight with that girl, she's bigger than you, you don't have to do this, I don't understand why you would do it. And I just started to think, well, that's the reason why you don't do this job, and I do, because I believe I can get in there and do it, just like I wouldn't be able to handle half what other people do with their life, and I may not understand what they do. I don't expect them to understand what they do, but I knew I could go in there, and I knew that I could avenge my loss with somebody that she hadn't lost, I think, in 17 years. 21 out of her 24 victories were by KO. And one of those KOs was just me. So, yeah, that was a lot to overcome, but I did it.
Holly, how much of that spirit would be important when you step in against Ronda that I'm going to, you don't understand me, I'm going to keep coming at you. I'm going to right or wrong, maybe in this round, but I'm going to come back in the next round and I'm going to go counter match. How much of that will help you when you match her against her?
Oh, it's going to be huge. And really what's helped me mentally already is just going through the training I go through. My training partners aren't necessarily being, easy on me. And I've been in a lot of situations that I've had to fight through. Yelled at a couple of my coaches a couple times. I'm actually not yelling at them, I'm kind of yelling at myself towards their direction. But I may have yelled at some of my sparring, but really I'm just yelling at myself. Sometimes I get frustrated if I'm not doing something right. But those moments in practice are what prepare me for those moments in the fight. That you might be in a bad position, but how many times did you have to come back and keep sparring the next round? And the next time that they were going to rush at you, the next time they're going to throw you down. Been thrown down on the mat here, can't even count. I've probably been thrown to the mat more in this training camp than I have cumulative over my MMA career. Sometimes my body hurts, but I'm going to be ready. And all those moments are going to help me when I get in there to deal with each situation, each position you're in, and to mentally know you can get through this.
More of an Australia question, but when are you leaving? What went into that decision to go then? And just how does your fight schedule change with the time difference, or does it?
It'll be a lot different as far as the actual fight time. I'm going to be fighting at 1 or 2 in the afternoon on Sunday. Never thought of that time in my life. That's so that it can air here live on Saturday. But it'll be fine. Practice starts here for the lightweights at 10:30. So it's not something out of the ordinary to get up and go train hard. All my hard sparring is during the late morning hours anyway. So I'm not really worried about that. I'm gonna get there a week early, so a couple days sooner than just going to California. But I don't want to miss my training. I want to finish a full training camp here and then leave. I didn't want to go there super early. I don't have training partners out there. I don't have, my bed that I want to sleep in at night. I don't have that. I definitely want to acclimate. I'm gonna land there Sunday morning, which will be exactly a week before.
It's going to be outside, right? That arena is.
Yeah, it's the Etihad Stadium. It's mass. It's really kind of a breathtaking stadium. It was a lot of times people say you got to see this place, and I'm like, okay. And then I walked in and I was like, it kind of took my breath away. It's an amazing stadium. It's huge. I mean, the octagon is pretty big, and it looks like so small in the middle of that stadium. And it's got it's fresh air. It's got the open. I love the feeling of the stadium. I like that it's outside. It's a big open area.
Have you seen it in person?
This is the original station as well.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? That night wasn't my best fight of my career, but it was memorable. It was kind of felt like I was in this battle kind of movie. It was pouring rain. As soon as our fight was over, the rest of the card was canceled, and everybody evacuated. But I run outside. I just ran in a little bit of sprinkling this morning. I'm okay being outside in the weather, and I'm okay being inside of a gym. So I train in and out every day.
I know you've been asked this a few times, but just with the way that the fight is being billed and promoted, with just female empowerment and seeing, images of little Holly and little Rhonda, just your thoughts on what this fight means, having, 2 female fights headline an event, that whole type of thing.
I think it's awesome the amount of attention that's been on this fight, and I'm really honored to be part of it. And for me, selfishly, it only really is going to be exciting if I win. So otherwise, I'm probably going to hate the promo. I'm going to hate all that stuff. It's always going to be around. when the fight's over and with the victory, I'll be like, that was the best promo ever. You know, so all of this stuff that leads into everybody says, aren't you so glad to be part of this big thing? I'm like, well, yeah, as long as I win. Otherwise, it's just going to be a big letdown. It's just that's all it's about. Everybody asks me where my motivation is. I just want to win. Everything else falls into place. I just want to win, and that makes all this worth it. That makes me think, okay, maybe it wasn't so bad that press conference I had to stay for. Maybe it wasn't so bad those media, you know, the UFC cameras coming into town. Maybe it wasn't so bad I had to go, you know, film that promo out in LA when I was jet lagged from coming back from Australia. All the times I was kind of frustrated along the way, it's worth it as long as there's a victory.
What has that done with the camp, having so many media obligations, many more than probably ever before?
I mean, it's not my favorite thing. Only because when a fight's coming up, all I want to do is train. Would we have our job if we didn't have those obligations? No. So I am 100% thankful for it. I just may not be in my best mood all the time. I'm entitled to that. Thank you very much.
So, thank you all for coming. Holly will do some